Hey, hello, and welcome to the podcast. And today we've got Efe Ohwofasa with us, and he's going to be talking about how you can prepare for your interview or presentation and how you can say things that are going to intrigue the audience and keep them captivated and more. Efe, welcome.
Thank you, Martin. It's always good to be with you again. How have you been?
I've been very well, and this time of the week I'm buzzing. We're talking about preparing for a presentation when you're invited to speak, and
Yeah.
apparently it's a question you get an awful lot.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you straight away then, what's the biggest mistake that people do make when they're first invited to give a presentation?
The biggest mistake is they don't prepare. When
Ah,
they don't,
here we go. What a start.
that's the biggest mistake. They don't prepare. They just wait until day of when they want to speak. They just go and mumble. So preparation is very key. You must prepare for any presentation you have been invited to come and make, or maybe you're looking forward to present to a group of people. And preparation, there's a lot involved in preparation. The first of all is you have to understand what are you going to talk about? What is your presentation topic? Then you have to really be clear on that. Then secondly, you want to ask yourself, who is the audience you're going to speak to? You want to study them, research to know who are they. Then three is how long will you be speaking for? So these are the key things you must understand. And when it comes to preparation, after you understand who your target audience is, the topic you want to speak about, do a little bit of research. If it's a new topic to you, even if it's not new, you want to study the audience and see how you can customize the content to suit the audience. Like for me, when I get invited to speak to an audience, let's say if it's a business audience or any audience, leadership, church, or whatever, entrepreneur, I try to speak to the person who invites me to learn more about who are the people coming to the audience. And also, I ask the person who invites me to speak, what does he or she want to achieve? Inviting me to speak to the audience. What are the information you want to convey to the audience? What are the challenges the audience people are currently faced with? And also, what are their desired outcome and goals? So with those information, it helped me to prepare so that my message or my content during delivery will be relevant to them. So those are the preliminary stage of preparation.
I see. My thoughts would be that I'd be frightened of things going wrong. That's the first thing that makes you a bit nervous about preparing for the whole thing. Have you ever bombed a presentation? And if so, what did you learn from it? What can people learn from it? Rather than being worried about it going wrong, if something does go wrong, how can you learn from that mistake, if you like?
Yeah, I think in mistake as a professional speaker, when you go and speak to a group or present to a group, you evaluate, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? What was the mistake that happened during my talk? So you review those things and you give yourself an honest response to those questions. If I remember, the one that happened for me what a time ago was, I prepared very well. The audience I prepared did all the preparation, but along the line during the talk, the audience became aggressive. They became very stubborn and rude, asking very stubborn questions. But one of the things I didn't do was I reacted to the question. I shouldn't have reacted. My reaction was I was expressing anger. How could you say that? How could you behave that? So I shouldn't have reacted. I should have responded in a more positive way, control the audience. I could have done it better. So those are the things that will happen. And again, I think your confidence while you're on stage come as a result of how prepared you are. If you are well prepared, and again, I'm going to talk more about that. If you are well prepared, you have more confidence than before you actually go and speak.
So you're all prepared, and there are different types of presentations. So how can someone perhaps tailor their presentation style, content to best suit a specific audience, like executives versus potential clients, for example?
Yeah. There are quite a number of things you want to do as a presenter or as a speaker. Before you go on the stage, there is what we call an opening statement. You have to prepare and practice what is the first thing you're going to do when you come on stage. The first thing you're going to do for the first 8-10 seconds is very important. If you get it right, you will get the attention of the audience right from the beginning. And if you get it wrong, you will lose the audience right from the very beginning. And if you lost the attention of the audience right from the very beginning, you will struggle all throughout the presentation. So what should you do when you want to get the attention of the audience? You want to ask, maybe you want to start with asking the audience a question, one, or finding a very short story that relates with the topic you're going to talk about. The story could be a story about you, about your client, or story about the purpose of the event where you're talking about. Then it could be when you get on stage, like for me, most of the time, for example, when I'm speaking to an audience, let's say entrepreneurs, most of the time I start with asking a question. Mm-hmm. I was like, for example, when I speak to a business people, I ask myself, what do business people want most? They want to grow their business. They want to make more sales. They want to increase their income. They want to have more freedom. And I ask myself, what question can I ask these entrepreneurs that is relevant to them that will make them to engage right from the very beginning? So in most cases, when I go, I will now raise my hand. Who here would like to grow their business and earn more money with a show of a hand? So all of them will say, I, because they are all entrepreneurs. They want to grow their business, so raise their hand. So with that, I have gotten the attention, then I now proceed from there. So that's one thing. Then the second thing, after you now have an opening thing you want to do for opening, either you ask questions, you start with a story or whatever thing you do, that now take you into the introduction. So you're now introduced to them. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how, or the 5 ways of how you could build your business and increase income. That is my agenda with you today. So you talk that opening statement, have an introduction, daddy. So you have the body of presentation that you now talk about 3 stories or 3 points or 5 points, and each point should be leading to the next one in a logical way. And to make it more compelling, if you can tell a story on each point you're giving, it connects with the audience. Then in addition to that, after you have done the opening, done the introduction, done the body, you have to also practice your closing statements. The thing you're going to say last to leave the audience, wow. So you practice that as well. Again, it could be a story, it could be a quotation, it could be something you want to make reference to. So you must practice your end statement. And if you do that, the audience will go, wow. And that will give you more opportunity to get invited back again and give you more opportunity to be invited to other stages as well.
Yeah, public speaking anxiety is very real. What are some quick, 2-point question really, what are some quick and effective techniques presenters can do to manage their nerves before and during the presentation, keeping calm? And also, is it good to have visual storytelling? So they have bullet points. How can presenters leverage visuals like slides or demos to enhance their message?
Yes, it's good to have visual points if the stage giving opportunity. So you just not writing a lot of things like a book, you'll be reading from the book. You could just give bullet points of what you want to talk about. So during your preparation, those bullet points, you must have rehearsed it. You must have know what to talk about with that bullet point. For example, now, if I want to talk about, let's say, goal setting, for example, as a topic, one of the ways to set goals is to write it down. So write it down could be a bullet point that I will talk about, write it down in a little while. So using short bullet points just to guide you, you flow in that direction and structure your presentation in a more professional way.
I see. Well, crafting the captivating intro, then we've done the storytelling, always a good one, the storytelling, visual storytelling with the bullet points. So when you're doing a closing, how can someone ensure their presentation leaves a lasting impact and a clear call to action. You're not, if it's a presentation, you may not necessarily be selling, but how do you do what you were mentioning earlier on, in fact, get that captivating end point?
Yeah, I think again it boils down to preparing again. You have to really during the preparation time you ask yourself, will this be suitable for me to use as my closing statement? With this story, sometimes you could close a presentation with a story that is relevant to the topic or something you've been talking about since. Or you could close by making a quotation from somebody that is relevant to the subject matter you are talking about. Or you could close by reading something. It could be a poem that is relevant again to the audience and to the topic. The bottom line is prepare, plan it ahead of time, and make sure it is relevant to the audience. And in most cases, like for me, I either tell story or make a quote. And at the end of the day, the way I test it, if it works, when I finish saying my closing statement, I then keep quiet, look at the audience without saying nothing again. Within 5 to 8 seconds, when I'm looking at the audience, you will see them sharing it up. So when that happened, that means your closing statement went well and it did the job. But if nobody clapped, nobody stood up, that means something didn't go right well for you with that.
Okay, that's excellent information. We could write a book about this. What about question and answer sessions? They can be very unpredictable. Can you share some strategies for handling tough questions or unexpected situations during the Q&A session?
Very interesting question you asked, Martin. Sometimes when you ask a question as a speaker and you do not know the answer to the question, the techniques I use, I ask the audience the same question. I will say, what do you think? What is your own thoughts regarding this? If you were to answer the question, what do you think? Or maybe the person who asked the question, I could rephrase the question. I say, if it was you, what would you do?
Wow.
Then I'll keep quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know the answer, paraphrase the same question and ask an open question back to the person that answered the question. Or maybe you could ask the member of audience, what do you think? What's your own view regarding this question? And you keep quiet. And when people from the audience or the person who asked the question is answering the question, you don't talk. You keep quiet. You don't interrupt them. So when they are talking, they will say things that will give you a clue of what you could say in addition to what they said. And with that, when they are saying it, you will ask the member of audience to give a hand of applause to whoever answered the question. Everybody will give a hand of applause to them. And everybody engaged. The question was answered, the question was asked, and it was answered by everybody in the group.
Yes. How can somebody get in touch with you if they need to know more about this? Because it's riveting stuff.
I do a lot of public speaking training. I do some free masterclass. I do some webinars. I do some 2 days or 3 days public speaking training. So if you want to learn more, just send me an info. There's a link on this video. Send an email to me and my team will pick it up and they will send you a link to my next masterclass. Send me info at efeohwofasa.com. That is info at efeohwofasa.com. And we will send you a link to some of my training. And also go to my YouTube channel. There are some training on public speaking techniques and strategy you could use to build your business and your income.
Oh, that's wonderful. Let's end on a big one. Give us your 3 quick tips for anyone who has a presentation coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow, number 1, who are you speaking to? Understand the audience. Number 2, the topic you want to speak about, do a little bit of study. Don't just assume you know it. Then number 3, prepare an opening statement you want to say when you get on stage. Practice that opening statement, practice, master it, and just go there and start with the opening statement. You will take charge of the audience.
Efe Ohwofasa, as always, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Martin. It's always good to come to you to share some of my good nuggets with your audience.